If you knew that one belief eliminated from your brain could change the course of your reality, would you want that? It's not for everyone, only the brave. Those who want to own their life like the powerful leaders they were born to be. A pivotal moment can change everything. Now, here's the host of Crossroads to Awakening show, Wendy Paquette.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this beautiful March 8th day here in sunny everywhere. And I say everywhere because I don't know where you are, but my intention for you is that it's sunny. And if the sun isn't up and you're on the other side of the world, then it will be soon. So this is the Crossroads to Awakening show. I'm your host, Wendy Paquette. I'm a holographic mind reprogrammer. And what that is that I have the ability to support humans in moving away from being stuck at a crossroads and awaken to their true selves in the moment that they're in. So making the choices and seeing the possibilities for themselves and stepping into it all at the same time so that you can create a life worth living. Because I believe as a high frequency human, how you see your life is a direct reflection of all of the programs that are etched into your brain. And those programs can easily be shifted when you see your truth for what it is. So if you'd like to see what your truth is, or acknowledge at least what your truth is, you get a hold of me at wendypaquette.com. Message me there and we will figure our stuff out. So let's get started on today's episode. Today's episode is something that I'm genuinely fond of because it's something I use on a regular basis. And this episode's called Secrets to Creating Success and Living Your Dreams. Living your dreams. It's what everybody wants in this world. So they claim. And some people who may not have gotten themselves to the space where they can acknowledge that that's what they want, you get to find yourself in the moments of silence that you have, seeing that maybe you're happy with where you're at. And that is where you've always been headed. So you get to truly acknowledge that you've gotten yourself there. And if you haven't, take the moment to decide what it is you'd really want, because we're here for a blip, literally. And you can experience this reality in any way you'd like to. And that is the bonus that we have as humans living here in a 3D experience with the laws of duality as potential multidimensional energies, beings, humans. So today's episode on Secrets to Creating Success and Living Your Dreams has a formula to it that you can walk through in order to create what you're after. And let's get this straight. You can do it all by yourself. No one says you can't. You can work on this day after day after day. And the one thing I've learned is that if you don't have someone you're accountable to, there's days that you just don't have anyone to point out that you're not showing up for yourself. And in that case, the only one who loses is you. And maybe you don't lose per se, but you're the only one that's not showing up for you. And if no one's there to point it out, or at least hold a mirror for you that cares enough about you to hold a mirror, then maybe you are losing something. Maybe it might just look like a day. And if you're creating self-care for yourself, that's one thing. But if you're just deliberately self-sabotaging the moments that will actually create some magnificence in your world, then you get to lean in to request support. Connect with someone who is thinking the same way as you, or is creating in the same speed as you, which we all know could be the magic to how you get there. Because when you have someone who cares enough about you to stand beside you, run alongside you, create their own life, and see you and want the best for you, and be that cheerleader, the honest truth teller to what's going on with you, you will get there. There is no other way, especially if you decided so. So let's get into this episode today, because we have a lot to cover. And there's very few steps, and they all look very similar, but they all will get you to the same place, right? I'm looking over the episodes going, there's a lot of formulas to a lot of things. Find your formula. And the only way to find it is to try them all. And then find the one that actually works for you and keep doing it over and over and over again. And you will achieve your own success, your own level of success, if not greater. So today we're going to go through 6 different things. I'm going to list them out and then we'll go through them. The first thing is to acknowledge that you're not your past. and we'll speak into that. The second is to get clean and clear on what you really want. And there's a whole thing to that as well. Third thing is to do an honest assessment. Fourth is to set your sights on possibilities, not potential roadblocks. The fifth is life is now. And there's some good indicators in how we can achieve that and see that. And the sixth is modern day time travel. One of the secret solutions to creating these possibilities and knowing your own blueprint or roadmap. So let's get this party started. The first thing is acknowledging you're not your past, right? So the secrets to creating success and living your dreams is number one, acknowledging you're not your past. You may have experienced your past. It may be true for you. And who you be today is the culminations of all the lessons you've ever gotten up until today. So it's not just the past. And when I say past, whatever you've decided is your past, you get to absolutely include everything. All the good things, all the things that gifted you lessons, all the things that were painful, all the things that you wish you'd never experienced, all the things that you'd never choose to experience again, and all the things that maybe you experienced and did not acknowledge. Right? So we go through our lives not actually acknowledging all of the things we've experienced because there's just so much, right? Life is living every single day. So acknowledge you're not your past. Now, where this comes into support you is some of us decide that who we were in the past, maybe someone that you'd never acknowledge today that you were, or maybe you're embarrassed by, or you feel ashamed of, someone who maybe you were someone who hurt someone before, or because you were hurt, you decided you were going to hurt someone. So, maybe there's some actions or some things you said that you're not proud of. And potentially you've been carrying the guilt and shame of that with you this whole time. And it has been a calling card to how you make choices moving forward in the future, because you think that that's all that other people can see. Right? You in your mind, because you have held on to those particular experiences or those emotions or those actions or those judgments that were set against you. Maybe you've hung on to those and they're so real to you that you believe other people can see them just by your mere mentally holding on to them, right? Into that experience. And what you get to know is we don't. As humans, we cannot see your past through speaking with you today unless you tell us what that is. So imagine carrying around the guilt and shame of your past, coming into a new group of humans and introducing yourself and thinking they know who you believe yourself to be. They have what stands before them is this beautiful human with all these wonderful things they like to create in the world, and they don't know any different. The only thing that makes that experience different is what you think of yourself and what delusion you think is that, like what you think other people think of you without actually knowing you. And so this is where you get to acknowledge that you are not your past, because what do you think you have in that moment that is your absolute gift? In the moment you're meeting new people and you have an opportunity to be fully you in that moment, you can eliminate the judgments and the shame of the past by being the human that you know yourself to be today, who you've always wanted to be. You can be that person in an instant. It is but a choice. And the people that are before you will see you for what you're showing them, which is a beautiful, kind, loving human, if that's who you're choosing to be. And I would imagine if you're listening to this podcast, this live radio show, you are choosing that. So acknowledging that you are not your past is for you to acknowledge to you. When looking in the mirror, you get to acknowledge to yourself that you are not your past. They are experiences that were created by you, for you, in the space of learning, right? You get to know a lot about yourself when you're walking through these experiences. So that's the number one thing. Acknowledge you're not your past. Once you've done that, the second thing is you get to get clean and clear on who and what you really want, who you are and what you really want in this reality. So who you want to be, what you would like others to perceive you as, and what you really want in this world. So both of those things they go together, because who you would like to be, who you be haven't allowed yourself to experience as you, and what you want to create in the world, the life you like to live, they go hand in hand because one begets the other. Who you're being in the world absolutely creates your experience, right? And as you well know, if you look in the past and you were going into a situation, I would say somewhat unconsciously, and you created an experience that you are not fond of or proud of, you can look at that and go, wow, I went into that not realizing what I was going to create for myself. Or maybe you did. I don't know. I can't speak for you. And only you can know that. But what you do have is the awareness of your now. Who are you now? Who have you always known yourself to be deep down inside and can actually exemplify today? And what life would you like to live as being that human? And that's number 2. There are many ways to discover these things. So don't think you're stuck in the midst. Reach out. There'll be something somewhere you'll find me at wendypaquette.com, and there'll be something that will guide you to a questionnaire that will walk you through all these questions to see who you be, who you want to be, what you would like to experience in this world. So find me. You've got all the opportunities in the world to find yourself through the support of others. The 4th thing is let's do an honest assessment. Like set yourself up to take who you want to be, where you want to be in the world, and do an assessment to acknowledge to yourself, okay, this is where I'm really at, right? You can't have an assessment to where you want to be if you don't acknowledge where you're at, right? So we're going to dive deep into what that could look like. Where do you want to be? In what situation, what world, what experience do you want to be? And then take a hard and fast look at where you're at right now. So let's get down to a couple of deeper questions. Are you, I would steer away from saying satisfied with your finances, but are you, I guess you'd say, happy with them? Are they creating the life that you'd like to live? Right? So the answer to that would be a yes or no. Either yes, they're creating everything I've ever wanted and then some, or no, they're actually not, right? I don't know if you've listened to prior episodes, we speak into the 99 versus 100%. There is no similarity between 99 and 100% when it comes to 100% is the full complete package. 99% means there's something that's missing for you. It's still a big number, but it's not 100%. And when you're looking for alignment, what you'd like to align yourself to is 100%. There's nothing feels like it's in the way. So when you're doing an honest assessment, be honest. Are you happy with the finances you're generating for yourself today? Today, not something you think is going to come tomorrow or the next day, but are you happy today with what you're creating? And if you're not, you get to write that down. So your finances would be one. Are you happy with your relationship? Are you happy with your career? Are you happy with your family life? Are you happy with your lifestyle? Right? Where you live, how you're living. Those are just 5 very small, 5 very simplified questions to ask yourself to see that assessment in real life, in real time. Like, maybe you've never went there before. Maybe you've never acknowledged to yourself that you're not actually happy with anything in your life right now. And listen, it's not a bad thing. It's a great place to start. Because if you don't acknowledge where you're at, how could you possibly get to where you're headed? You'll have no gauge. We'll remove all the emotional attachment to where you are at right now. So it's not about how you feel about where you're at. So when I say about a non-emotional number. So go from 1 to 10. Go from 1 to 10, right? Analyze 1 being a low number, 10 being a high number. 10 is like absolutely thrilled with where my life's at. And number 1 is not at all happy with it, not at all satisfied with where my life's at, and not happy at all with it. And then 5 is obviously the neutral number. So we're going to step into our first break, but you get to go through that now and go give yourself the assessment. The 1 to 10 is how happy are you? And go into your finances, relationship, career, family, and lifestyle, just for 5 broad spectrum things. And let's see what you come up with. So give yourself the minute that we're on break to go through those things. And when we come back, we're going to dive deeper into that. So we'll be right back. This is a Crossroads to Awakening show with Wendy Paquette. See you in a minute.
If you could wave a magic wand and have your life be anything you wanted it to be, what would it look like? Professional dancer, CEO of a multi-million-dollar earth-conscious company, a screenwriter with top billing shows, and ultimately have the boldness to move about the world without emotional blocks standing in your way, therefore having the confidence to achieve anything you put your mind to. That's what Wendy Paquette knows is possible for you. The first step is understanding why you don't believe it too, or why you do, and yet haven't created it. Put on your possibility goggles and join Wendy now, because you're at the Crossroads to Awakening.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Crossroads to Awakening show with your host, Wendy Paquette. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Now back to the program.
Okay, welcome back. So if you've done an honest assessment with where you're at with even those 5 categories, your finances, relationships, career, family, and lifestyle, you're going to begin to notice an honesty about you, right? Something that comes up that allows you to see that you might not be acknowledging your level of joy in your life, your level of inspired creation or inspired action. And so therefore, like, where's your soul actually being in your life? Like, where is your soul joyful, or is it sleeping, right? Are you just moving through your life looking for it to be complete? You're getting to the end of the day and it's just another day. Or are you waking up out of bed and excited for what's coming, and sometimes not even know what it's going to look like, but really excited to face that day, to go out into the world? I mean, one of the things that we get to look at is the 4th thing is setting your sights on possibilities, not potential roadblocks. Setting your sights on possibilities, not potential roadblocks. Because let's face it, most of us will look at all the things that could go wrong when we're setting our sights on what we'd really like in our life. And we zero in on all the things that could go wrong. And we focus so much on that's exactly what we attract, A. And as you know, if you've been listening to my show for a while, that anything you decide is true is. So if you're focusing on potential roadblocks and you're deciding that those are the roadblocks you're going to come into contact with, then you're deciding that those roadblocks are true, right? Which are now, they're become programs in your brain. Also, you've also decided that those are the bricks that are in your way that will prevent you from getting to where you're headed. Talk about self-sabotage. I mean, that's a mild version of what that is. It's it's as though you think your life is infinite in this body, as though you have all the time in the world to be able to acknowledge all those things, and then yet spend most of your life deciding that you can't have them anyway because of all these reasons, right? All these roadblocks you've listed for yourself. And so those come from ways of being that you don't want to experience, right? So when you're looking at potential roadblocks, you're looking at ways of being like self-sabotage or laziness, or maybe you don't believe that you're worthy, or you might have no time right? A lot of us have that where we don't have any time for anything. So nothing gets created, which is interesting as it goes. And you have no time to create something. So that has a confusion way of being to it. Confusion is a big thing for a lot of people. Overwhelm, right? If you're stepping into overwhelm is lack of commitment to the commitment. So when you're not committed to something, you're creating this space where your mind doesn't know where to go next because it has no idea what it's going to be inspired by and has no idea where the end point is. Right? So overwhelm is lack of commitment to the commitment. And you may have an overwhelm thing show up for you every day because every day you don't know where you're headed. You just wake up and kind of like, I don't know, float through your day or race through your day or meander through your day. However you get from the beginning of your day to the end, you may very well be so unconscious to your pathway that you feel overwhelmed because all of a sudden, some days, 15 people have called you, or let's just make it simple. 3 people could call you and say, hey, we got to do this today. It's due today. And now you suddenly feel overwhelmed. Why? Well, A, you don't know where you're headed. So that's one piece. B, now you have 3 people expressing to you that something needs to get done. So that's the second thing. And you also have no set out formula for yourself in order to get to the end of your day and know that you have created something that moves you forward in your life, in your lifestyle, in your business, in your fitness, in your health. Like we didn't even go there. We went, when we went from our finances, relationships, career, family, and lifestyle, we didn't even put your health in there. That's a whole new category in itself. And very few people are satisfied with their health. So all these ways of being that you get caught up into by not actually knowing where you're going causes you to spin in this like never-ending spiral of not getting there. So that doesn't create success at all, right? You're not creating your dreams or living your dreams by getting caught in the overwhelm and the mess of life without having a target. And that comes from an honest assessment. So if we back ourselves out of this experience, out of the steps in order to get where we want to be, it all goes back. So say we're setting our sights on possibilities, not potential roadblocks. If you go back one step, it's do an honest assessment, right? We're going to line up all of our things and see what we actually feel about them or what we actually know about how we feel about them. We go back one more step is getting clean and clear on what you want. And the first step is acknowledging you're not your past. So they all go hand in hand. If you follow these steps from one to the next, they all go hand in hand. So what if the other part of that, set your sights on possibilities, not potential roadblocks? We spoke into the potential roadblocks, right? If you decide that you have roadblocks, then you've already screwed yourself over because those are going to be true because you said so. But the first part of that, and number 4 is set your sights on possibilities. So what if you decided that you were going to look at multiple possibilities for the same result, right? Multiple possibilities for the same result. If you decided that there are multiple ways to get to where you're headed, are you still able to stare at the roadblocks, the potential roadblocks? My guess is you're saying or shaking your head, no. How could we possibly see the roadblocks if all we can see are possibilities, right? If we could see multiple possibilities in the same scenario, getting to the same result, how could you possibly bump into any roadblocks? You might be able to weave around them, but you're certainly not going to stare at potential roadblocks. You're going to see all those ways that it's totally possible for you to get to where you're headed based on all these potentials, right? All these possibilities. So once you start looking at what you really want from that perspective, the life that you would like to live from that perspective, you now have an open highway to head down, right? You now have an open highway. Your assessment will show you how you really feel. And of course, there's some mindset shifts in that. But once you realize that you're capable of having these things because you see all these possibilities, what's next is the life is now step. Life is now. We've heard that a million ways from Sunday. Well, life is now, life is now. And some people use it almost as a weapon. Well, you better do it because life is now, in that you might choose something that's out of alignment for sake of speed. Like, hurry up, choose it. Life is now, go for it. Even, if you're not sure, jump in the water, like something that you're really, truly not aligned with. So yes, life is now. And you get to be really honest to where you're headed. So the life is now can actually create speed and results for what you're after. And when I say results, they're not all tangible results, but you certainly could chalk them up. Relationship, if you were not in one and now you are, well, that's going to be a tangible result. It does not, but it has a gauge of some kind. So one of the things that was brought to my attention today, earlier, one of the things that really came close to home with me is my best friend Kathleen, who has her own radio show as well, was interviewing Hayden, who comes from Operation Underground Railroad, speaking into the enslavement of humans these days. And it's they speak now. It's happening everywhere, and the more I learn about it, the more I see it's in our country, it's in my country, or in our in our local area, in our province, in our country. It's in our nation as a whole, and it's something that I've not really understood before. I never took the time to learn about it. And in his interview with Kathleen today, he said something that she repeated to me, which was, no plan matters when there are bullets flying at your head. And he was speaking into, when you're in the military, about 100 ways from Sunday, how to get to where you're headed. And you can be certain that you're going to get there. And so you have a plan in place, and you're going to walk all the way through from where you're starting to where you end, because you've got a plan in place, right? That you've carefully sought out and thought of. But if there's bullets flying in your head, when you're in the military and you're in a war zone, the plan is no longer in effect. It's whatever way you get to survive, however you can survive. And that's the biggest piece. A plan is great to get you somewhere. It's also thrown out the window when life is now. When you get to pay your bills, you get to support your children, you get to create the life worth living. Life is now. The plan is, well, maybe had a moment to decide how you're going to get there. Embody the plan and keep going. Create from this space of urgency. So that to me really hit home, because I have never been a planner. I've never mapped this beautiful plan to walk through, because it seems as though every time I do that, I create the opportunity for 100 other things to land on my plate that will distract me from the plan. So that's how I learned that having a definitive place to get to will get me there. Not the mapped out plan will get me there, but my actual declaration that I'm getting there, what it is that I want, my commitment to getting there. And the plan is just a backup. Like, you can create the plan, but how many times do you actually follow it, like letter to the letter? Your intention is to follow the plan and to get to the result. It doesn't always work out that way. And sometimes that's where people fall off. They want to create success and live their dreams, and they fall off the plan and therefore let go of where they're headed, or they've not had a clear decision-based result. Like, they, have an idea, maybe they want to make $1 million. Okay, so how are they going to do that? They create a business plan, they map it out, they pay someone to create it for them. They decide all the, pertinent people that get to be in that plan with them. And somehow life happens and they fall off of their plan. And then what? Suddenly they've forgotten where they're headed, because they're so focused on all the roadblocks that they've run into that they don't even remember where they were headed from the very beginning. And in that formula, the plan is now no longer a plan. It's something that got abandoned because they thought they were drowning in that space, right? They had to clean up all the mess instead of looking at potentially taking obstacles and turning them up into opportunities. They let go of where they were headed and kind of, threw down the gauntlet and committed action to get there. And that's all the difference. That's the life is now. Okay, so all these things got thrown on my plate. Great. Where am I headed again? And getting themselves really clean and clear on where they're going. So there's a lot in that life is now experience, because you can plan until you're blue in the face. And as Hayden said, when there's bullets flying at you in war, plane goes out the window, you're going to do whatever it takes to survive. And that is a secret to creating success and living your dreams. You're going to do whatever it takes to get there. If the plan doesn't work, then keep going and a new plan will get created as you're running still towards your target. It's not necessarily all about the plan. It's about your committed action towards your declared result, where you'd like to be. And the plan is a support piece. And it will only get you so far as long as it goes exactly as the plan says, which how many times have you ever seen that happen? Really, truly. And there are other ways you can support yourself, because you will run into all the roadblocks, potentially that you've anticipated, partly because you're in your conscious awareness and because life happens. That is absolutely life in a nutshell, is it never looks the way you think it looks. So we're going to walk into a break, and we're going to be in the space where you're going to really get a good look at what it is that you really want. Because if you've fallen off your own pathway to where you're headed, I get it. And it's not wrong. And you still get to have everything you've ever wanted. And the life is now pieces kicking in, right? That is the bullets flying at your head. You get to win no matter what, which is you get to survive and live and thrive and get to where you're headed. And sometimes the plan isn't the way, right? You've created an opportunity to see it differently. Perhaps it's right in front of you and you just never knew it. So let's walk into the break, Jen, and we'll be right back. Crossroads to Awakening show.
If you could wave a magic wand and have your life be anything you wanted it to be, what would it look like? Professional dancer, CEO of a multi-million-dollar earth-conscious company, a screenwriter with top billing shows, and ultimately have the boldness to move about the world without emotional blocks standing in your way, therefore having the confidence to achieve anything you put your mind to. That's what Wendy Paquette knows is possible for you. The first step is understanding why you don't believe it too, or why you do, and yet haven't created it. Put on your possibility goggles and join Wendy now, because you're at the Crossroads to Awakening. This is the Crossroads to Awakening show with your host, Wendy Paquette. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Now back to the program.
Okay, we're back now. Go with this next. The number 6 on our list is modern day time travel. Modern day time travel. That's my answer to everything. It really is, because what it does is it gives you the opportunity to, it's the process that I've created that gets you to where you're headed from where you stand by giving you intelligent insight, multiversal intelligence, like energetic intelligence, all that is intelligence, into where you're headed so that you could see and be a part of an internal working and energetic workings of your life. Because yes, we are human bodies. We are physical aspects of source, wandering through this reality in creation mode in all moments of our life. And we have access to all that is. We have access to infinite intelligence, which if asked of, will gift us what we require in the moment we require it. Most of us just don't use it. So what if you knew that you've went through all the steps of creating success, life of your dreams? So you've acknowledged that you are not your past. You're getting clean and clear on what you want. And that is a longer than a 5-minute, a 5-minute expression. You get to sit down for at least 15 minutes and decide what it is you really want. You're going through all the aspects. Then you're going to do an honest assessment. Like, where are you right now versus where do you want to be? And walk yourself through that. It's a 1 to 10 assessment. And then you get to write down the details of where you're at. So you can actually give yourself some type of guide from where you are to where you want to be. And then you're going to set your sights on all the possibilities, not the potential roadblocks. So how many ways can you get there? I mean, you might not think of them all, and that's okay, because they're not all going to come to your brain as you're using your brain to set yourself up in this exercise. But when you move to the life is now, if you were to create it today, that changes the game, right? Say today, life is now. I'm going to look at what I really want, and I'm going to see, how can I have that today, like right now? When you take money out of the mix and you look at all the other things, there are a lot of ways you can have what you want today. It's when you convolute everything you've ever wanted with money that you then see that the only way you can have it, or at least that's the expression you give yourself, is by having the money to have it or to get it, right? So we'll take the money aspect out, although that is a big part of everyone's reality. But we want to see, what can we have today? How can you be that person today? How can you experience some of the experiences that you're after today? And I'll tell you, in relationships, for some of us, I have a lot of single friends who turn on a dating app and have a date in a day. Can that happen? Absolutely. Right? So if you're one of those humans that really wants a relationship or wants to get back into the dating game, I think sitting and talking about it with your friends and not actualizing what you're after, even if it's just turning on a dating app, sometimes that activates it right away. But if you're not giving yourself a fair shot at it, I mean, that can be created overnight. A date, virtual date even, can be created in a day, which would not even skyrocket, it was a quantum leap from where you are today to where you'd like to be in a second, right? Just by giving yourself that opportunity. So how many things can you create without having the $1 million target in front of you, right? Remove the money aspect first. See where you want to be. What ways of being will create that possibility today? And how can you action it right now, instead of just thinking about it and let it remain in your brain? One of the ways is to have someone that runs alongside you. And I think I said this earlier about having an accountability friend or accountability buddy, someone who cares enough about you, who I would highly recommend they run alongside you at the same speed at which you like to run in your life, right? They like to create as quickly. They have big goals, big dreams, just like you, so that running alongside them feels even or equal, right? You don't have to drag them along, and you're not trying to constantly keep up with them, but they're running alongside you, and they inspire you to be more you. They inspire you to go after your dreams, not make you feel like, there's no way on God's green earth you'll catch up to them. That's not what I'm really suggesting when it comes to an accountability buddy. But find someone who is a friend who you care enough about that you can trust to run alongside you and hold you accountable to what you're after, which means you'd have to say out loud what you really want. You'd actually have to tell them, which, I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous when I say it out loud, but a lot of us don't tell anybody what we really, really want. We just don't. We keep it to ourselves, almost as though it's a dirty little secret. Right? We're just not going to share it with anyone, because heaven forbid we hold ourselves accountable in the space where someone else knows what we want in life, as though we shouldn't be allowed to have it, or we may not think that we're capable, and heaven forbid someone else think the same thing, right? We just don't know what other people are thinking. And I can pretty much guarantee you that if you told a real true friend the type of life that you would like to live and who you would like to be in it, they would be thrilled to support you. So who do you get to be in order to even connect with one of your friends, to create the relationship the 10 relationship with them, that you can tell them everything you ever want to do so they can hold you accountable and they can share the same with you. Imagine open up that friendship where you're telling each other on a regular basis, if not daily, where you're headed, what you're up to, what you're creating, and even acknowledging all the successes thus far, celebrating what you created from the day before, actually being in committed action and creation every single day with someone who actually is standing alongside of you, cheering you on, right? Listening to when you get all nerdy about it, when you get all irritated by life or people or situations, and then encouraging you to keep going. And as you do the same with them, you create the same opportunity for yourself in your life. It is a magnificent role to play. So, having someone like that in my life, it makes it really exciting to wake up in the morning, because it's not just you creating all by yourself and you're able to hide behind all of your misgivings, right? Your misgivings to yourself, where you're not treating yourself fairly, or you're not showing up for yourself, or maybe you're not creating this type of self-care that you get to have. And even admitting that to someone is probably as vulnerable as you can get, right? If you're running on all cylinders and you're not actually getting anywhere because you're not creating the results you want, maybe you have, shiny object syndrome or what have you, having an accountability person, an accountability friend in your life will change that. Because at the end of the day, when you say I didn't create anything and they say, well, you were busy, you can get honest with yourself and them. And that's when the life is now comes into play. Life is now. Every day that goes by is every day that we have yet we can't reclaim. We actually see it pass us by, and we can no longer physically go back and change it. However, with the modern day time travel, this beautiful process that I have brought into this reality, you can stand in your now, could be any time of the day, and get yourself into a meditative state of some form. It doesn't even have to be too deep. Get to the end of the day of your life, imagine it, use that creative intelligence of imagination. Look at the very beginning, start of your day, stand at the end of it in the success of how you'd like your day to be created. Ask the you in the beginning of your day, what worked that I got to the end of the day and created everything that was on my list, everything I wanted to get done, and then some, brought all kinds of new relationships or new friendships or new connections into my life. What worked that created that today? And then you'll receive all the answers to these questions. And then you get to ask, what didn't work? What actually did get in my way? And so this is where you're going to get some actual roadblocks that showed up for you, or potential roadblocks. And you're going to be able to decide how you can create an experience in that day where they were avoided. Now, when I say roadblocks, it could be the shiny object syndrome that distracts you from your life every single day. It could be that got in the way. So say the shiny object syndrome is you opened up Facebook to see, I don't know, how many responses you got from a post. And what happened was you saw how many responses you got, then you responded back to everybody. Then you happened to scroll down, you saw a friend's birthday, you posted on their timeline. Then you scrolled down, you saw the things they're up to, you decided to reach out, and the list goes on. You can go down the Facebook rabbit hole all the live long day. And in the meantime, your life is still going. Right? So if that's one of the roadblocks that you see for yourself, so if you're standing at the end of you're standing at the beginning of your day, you're asking the end of day self where everything worked out exactly as you could in the most perfect order you can imagine. And when you ask your beginning of the day self, like what didn't work? Sorry, I said that backwards. When you ask the end of the day self from the beginning of the day, what didn't work, what got in my way, and you see that Facebook was a big distractor, you can literally decide not to check Facebook all the live long day. You could stand and decide that only at 8 p.m. at night will I check Facebook for anything that I get to check it for. After my day is complete, after I've had my dinner, after I spent time with my family, at 8 p.m. I can check it. Would that be supportive? Probably. Probably, because most of the things that you created that day most likely came from your actions elsewhere, right? Unless you're actually deliberately posting things on Facebook, you'll see that if that's the one thing that got in your way, you get to avoid that pitfall or potential roadblock and create speed at which you achieve all the things you'd like. You're living your dreams. So that's one way. So we're going to walk into our third break already. And when we come back, we'll speak a little bit more into the modern day time travel and then how you can reach me and what you can do next and now in your life to create the life of your dreams and create the success you're after and live your dreams on purpose right after this break. So we'll be right back.
If you could wave a magic wand and have your life be anything you wanted it to be, what would it look like? Professional dancer, CEO of a multi-million-dollar earth-conscious company, a screenwriter with top billing shows, and ultimately have the boldness to move about the world without emotional blocks standing in your way, therefore having the confidence to achieve anything you put your mind to. That's what Wendy Paquette knows is possible for you. The first step is understanding why you don't believe it too, or why you do, and yet haven't created it. Put on your possibility goggles and join Wendy now, because you're at the Crossroads to Awakening. This is the Crossroads to Awakening show with your host, Wendy Paquette. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Now back to the program.
Okay, we're back in. So let's talk a little bit more about the modern day time travel program, because it literally will save you time and energy that you, maybe that you have spent every single day trying to figure out how you can change the next day or change what you've already created and keep moving forward. Or it is the solution and the process that will get you to your dreams faster, that will get you to creating the success that you're after faster in every category of your life. It, to me, when you use it, it seems almost surreal. Because imagine yourself getting all the answers to what's possible in your day on purpose and using them, like actually stepping into them. You won't know the success of it until you do. And when you do, and you see what actually gets created and the speed at which it gets created, it almost will feel like illegal. Like, so feels like cheating, right? Getting all the answers to the questions before you've even been asked the questions. And the cool part is it's available to everyone. It's not a secret. It's possible. And the only thing that would stop someone from accessing the infinite information that we all have access to is not wanting to believe that that's possible. Just merely the lack of belief. And it sounds silly, but it's the one thing that we put in the way. Like we set in the way of ourselves from achieving most things that we want. Not just, modern day time travel, being able to access information about ourselves, about our own day on our own. But when you look at everything you've ever, the only person really standing in the way is you. And the only part of you that causes that experience of getting in your own way is your brain. And that is the truth for everyone. There isn't a person living on this planet that doesn't get in their own way. How many times have you heard that? Right? How many times have you heard that getting in your own way, you're getting in your own way? And a lot of people don't even understand what that means. But what it means is your brain, sometimes it's the programs that you've decided are true, or maybe it's, you hear the voice of your parents saying, well, don't do that. You're only going to regret it, or whatever that looks like for you. You let others' influence and maybe even your own influence, wherever it comes from, stop you from having everything you've ever wanted. That's you getting in your own way. There isn't a physical person standing there with a stop sign saying, stop, idiot, stop. No one does that. The only person who does that to you is you. Because when someone else tells you to stop, most often we have an instantaneous reaction to that. And we want to say like, screw you, move out of the way. I'm going to do what I want. Or some people might stop in their tracks and turn around and walk backwards or close their eyes, right? But when it comes to your own life and what you're looking to create, there is only one person that stands in your way, and that's you. You're the only one that can get in your own way. And the story of every successful person on this planet, everything they ever created, anything in their wildest imaginary dreams that came to life, always has the story of never, ever, ever, ever giving up. And look at any story that you could ever read, any biography, autobiography, every story of a successful human has the same element. They never gave up, and they were probably told no more times than you or I would ever imagine. And what caused them to win was their tenacity, their drive, and their desire to have the life that they've always wanted to live. And the person that got in the way was always them. And somehow they overcome that piece. They have overcome it. So modern day time travel is one aspect of how you can support yourself to not get in your own way. Not only to support yourself to not get in your own way, there's a high potential that you will amplify, magnify, and quantum leap the time aspect in order to have the things that you're after. Because once you realize that it's your infinite self giving you the information as to what's in the way or what worked, there isn't anyone that can stop you, because you're the one receiving all the information. And if that's the general person getting in the way, guess what? You've now eliminated your own enemy, right? Your own self-sabotager. And now you can have everything you've ever wanted. You always have been able to anyway. This is just one process that guides the way for you. So listen, you can do it on your own, or you can have support like myself. Come to Wendy Paquette place to land, and you get in connection with giving yourself the gift of modern day time travel. Experience it for yourself. There's multiple programs. One, you can do it all by yourself in your own given time. And the other opportunity is to do it with me and have me standing right by your side as you walk through your own experience and create the life that you've always wanted. It's up to you to make that choice. And the only person getting in the way is also you. So if you're looking for permission, here it is. It is time. Now is your time. Walk yourself into your own dream life today and allow yourself to have it, right? The pitfalls are only what your mind creates them to be. And your mind also creates the possibilities. So being that I'm the one that is going to stand in it with you, and I'm the one that has brought this process forward, where do you think this process came from? The exact same space that you're going to access all of your possibilities from as well, right? So there's a win-win-win for everyone, because I've got experience with it, and I can stand beside you and hold you high and support you into achieving all these dreams. You'll be able to access all the secrets to creating your success and living your dreams today with nothing in the way. So being that we're at the end of this episode, this beautiful Crossroads to Awakening show, which has gifted me more possibilities just being in there and able to support so many humans into stepping into their possibilities, now is your time. So if you're listening to this today, then come find me, wendypaquette.com. Let's play the modern day time travel game with you and what's possible for you. And let's brag about all the amazing things you've created. So I look forward to seeing you next week. We can dive deeper into all these possibilities, and I look forward to supporting you on your journey. So we'll see you soon on the flip side in the modern day time travel and at Crossroads to Awakening. We'll see you soon. Thanks for having me in your life. I'm super grateful. Talk to you later. Boy, modern day time travel is fun. I wonder what's going to happen today.
Thank you for choosing to listen to the Crossroads to Awakening radio show. Wendy Paquette will return next Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, and 11 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We look forward to you joining us again. Until then, enjoy your journey and we'll meet you at the crossroads.